Don't know why Joe Biden's tried to avoid talking to the press. The president just sat down for a rare interview, one-on-one with MSNBC, where he was asked if he was planning on running for re-election. And this was his answer.
It's my intention to run again. And we have time to make that decision.
Dr. Biden is for it. Mr. President. Oh.
Dr. Biden thinks that, my wife thinks that, that we're doing something very important.
Let's bring in Julie Banderas to react. So we were going to do Sink or Swim, but this tape just broke, so we thought it was more important. What does that answer tell you about the president of the United States?
That he's not capable of being the president of the United States. I mean, that is a scary clip. I mean, we may look back at it and chuckle a little bit because it's a little bit so surprising that you almost laugh, but this is not a laughing matter.
What happened there? He said Jill Biden, Dr. Biden, and then he stopped. And then the interviewer tried to interject, like something was wrong.
Yeah. And you can tell that the interviewer didn't want this to happen. Now, let's remind ourselves where this aired. I mean, this was on NBC, on MSNBC, so the interviewer was probably in more pain than Biden was, or Biden's people that were standing off camera probably thinking, oh, my God, where is this going? We don't have cue cards for him. We don't have a Sharpie to tell him what to say. But, yeah, he was going to talk about his wife, and I think for a second he forgot she was a doctor, because he almost hesitated when he said Dr. Biden. Who's Dr. Biden?
Do you think that Jill doesn't want him to run for re-election, and he kind of knew that, but he didn't want to say that?
That's actually a really good observation. I didn't think about that, but now that you say it, I think that she probably wants him to enjoy his elder years and sees that his quality of life right now is not at the top of his game. It's time for him to get out. It's
like Capehart or whoever was that interviewer might have struck a nerve.
Yeah. But the interviewer was actually... You can tell by the interviewer that the interviewer was actually uncomfortable by it. The interviewer noticed that he completely lost his train of thought. The interviewer at one point actually said, oh, wait, you know, like he stopped because he tried to almost prevent the president from continuing what was complete nonsensical answers.
Yeah, let's run it again so we could hear it one more time.
It's my intention to run again. And we have time to make that decision.
Dr. Biden is for it. Mr. President. Oh.
Dr. Biden thinks that, my wife thinks that, that we're doing something very important.
I can't read into it any more than any person can read into that, but that was not a commanding answer. That was a sad performance. That was a confused performance. Mm-hmm. Looking at that makes me think that he can't run for re-election.
I don't know. I mean, no. How do you run for re-election when you can't answer a simple question? This wasn't a question about policy. This was a simple question. Are you going to rerun again? How does your wife feel about it? When they said Dr. Biden, he almost seemed like he didn't know who Dr. Biden was.
Do we have any more sound from the interview? Because our producers are telling us that this was not the only time during the interview where he began to lose focus and look down and stumble. I'm scared. This guy's supposed to be making critical national security decisions, and he doesn't seem like he's got it. He doesn't have it. And we need to have that right now. I
think not only are the American public scared, but those that are running in the midterms are scared. Democrats are running scared, literally, figuratively, physically are running scared from this president. They don't want him campaigning for him. We saw him in Pennsylvania with Fetterman, and he was in fact asked, you know, what do you have to say about all these Democrats that don't want you campaigning for him? And he denied it, and he got snippy.
Yeah. Well, Giselle is going to be the real candidate. Now we know that. You have a book out.
I sure do. It's called Fiona's Fantastical Four. Say that 5 times fast. I partnered with Brave Books. It's a Christian conservative company. It's an anti-woke company. It's pro-morals, pro-American values. It's something that our children need to be taught, and they are not taught in our schools these days with the woke rhetoric that is running rampant. So we're out there trying to sell some books to children to teach them the old way, the good way. BraveBooks.com. You can pick up a copy. In fact, you get my book.